everyone, welcome back. In this video, I am pulling out a stamp set that I purchased way back when. As you know, I am going through all of my purchased items that I have been holding onto and kind of forgetting to craft with. So I feel like I've done really good this year, and this is one of the stamp sets that I need to go ahead and explore and play around with. So I saw this and thought that this would be a really cute Father's Day card. So we are going to go ahead and get this all cute for Father's Day, and I'm excited because there's a lot of little elements in this stamp set. So we're gonna obviously stamp the car out, but then we're gonna stamp little critters inside, and then we can add a little license plate. There's thanks dad and you are great. We also have I love you, and then I love all of the little puns in these little sayings down here. You know me, I love a good pun. So before we do anything, and you'll hear some lawn mowing in the background because the amazing guy I'm making this for is spending the evening mowing the lawn. So that way I can get his card all created. All right, so I'm gonna first grab, let's see, I'm gonna grab my Misty, and let's start by doing our stamping. And let's see, first of all, I know I definitely need to start with the car. And I think that's all I can start with. Right? I think so. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp this car out. And I do intend on, I'm going to condition this, I do intend on using alcohol markers to color today. So what I'll do is use an alcohol marker friendly ink, and this is the ink that I really like. I'll link everything that I'm using down below, but this plays really well with the alcohol markers. They get along really well, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so we'll double stamp that. It's a really good impression though, but I want to get it nice and bold. And there we go. Okay, that looks great. Now what I'm going to do is clean this off and we'll start adding our elements in. Okay, so there we go. And I think I'll start by doing the little, I think, are they bears? I think they're bears. Okay, let's get this one placed right back in. And what do we want to do? So we need one that's steering. Kind of like the one that's looking right ahead. That would definitely be my hubby. Focused, right? It's a good thing. Okay, and I like where that's positioned, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that on my door real quick. Ooh, hopefully I didn't move that. Did I move that? Sometimes when conditioning that's good. Conditioning the smaller stamps, you can kind of nudge them. So I also think I will do thanks dad for the license plate. I think that's good. Okay, and then I'll come back in and do the other little bear in the passenger seat in just a moment. But let's get these two down. I didn't condition the little thanks dad for the license plate because it was so tiny that I didn't want to accidentally shift it. Oh my gosh, that's cute. So cute. Okay, one more time. All right, now clean up once more and add a little passenger. And I like the little one that is kind of like saying hooray. I think that's really cute. So I'm gonna do that. And we'll put these back as well. Okay, so many fun things here. I also like the little music notes, so I might incorporate those later. And I love that. Okay. Okay, I think that will work. So this is our final stamp for what we need to color. There we go. Oh, cute. Okay, and once more. Okay, super sweet. Let's go ahead and let this kind of set for a little bit. That way the ink is really dry. When you double stamp, it tends to stay wet for a little bit longer, and if you go in and color too quickly, then it can risk smudging. Even though it's alcohol friendly, you still want to make it dry and allow it to dry before you start your coloring. So this is a good time for me to go and pull the colors that I want while this dries. Okay, so I might pull some additional ones in, and let me zoom. Oh, I always do it the wrong way. Zoom in here, but let's start here. So I am going to start with my dark colors because just in case this isn't quite dry, then it doesn't really matter with the darker colors because there's less chance of seeing any type of smudging. So I'm going to go in with this C5 and I'm going to work on the little front bumper. So I'm going to go on this little bottom part. Just like that. And then my next color that I'm going to pull is C3, and I'll use that to kind of blend that out. Just like that. There's not a lot of area here to work with, so I'm not going to overcomplicate it, but just give it a little bit of depth by having a couple colors there. And I'm going to just further blend that out a little bit. And I think that looks great. Okay, now just solely with the C5, because that's the darkest of my grays that I have, I'm going to come in and do the tires. And I'll probably do a couple layers here. Actually, I'll do one layer, but then I'll come back in and kind of shadow just a little bit like that. Okay, that looks good. I might also come back in, because this was my darker color, with the bumper and just kind of boost that shadow just a little bit and then lightly feather. That way I have more contrast between my highlights and shadows. There we go. Okay, we'll let that all smooth out. Now I'm going to do the C3. We'll co-focus on the little mirrors here. We'll do C3. And then I'll bring in C1, which is a really, really light, cool gray. And kind of blend. Get a little mid-tone there. Okay. And then back with the C3 one more time, just to bump up that shadow ever so slightly. Okay, stopping there. Okay, let's see, C3 and C1. While C5 is still out, I'm going to come in and just do this steering wheel. Let's go ahead and focus on the little bears. So actually, really quick, I'm going to bring in the C3 and C5 one more time. I'm going to give that steering wheel just a chance to dry, and I'm going to do these little lights. Okay, actually I'll leave that undone because I'll probably come back in just like I did and boost my shadow. So just really simple coloring. I like to just do just enough to give it some fun depth, but not overcomplicate it. Keep it fun. Okay. There we go. Now I'm done with my grays. Okay, let's now do, oh, and before I forget, I want to pull R20 for the cheeks. And I like to leave that over here. That way I don't forget. Let's do E34 and E35. It's my favorite brown combo. And one of the two, is it E31? I think it is. It's so dry. So I did reorder so that I can have a new one. And I know you can do refills. I don't know. I don't know that I want to store refills. So I was talking to my husband, and I don't know if I did it wrong, but this is the first time I've had to redo or reorder a Copic. But I told him I just bought a new marker. I just didn't want to get like a bunch of, or have to store a bunch of refills, but I don't know. Maybe I'll feel differently about that as I become more or get into coloring more. But at this point, when I just do it every once in a while, I'm not, I don't know, wanting to do the refills, just get a new color. But I wonder if it's like close to the same price. I'm not sure. Let me know. Okay, there's our first little bear. And yeah, it's the E31 that's definitely struggling for ink, which I mentioned in another video. I'm so surprised because it's not really my most used color or anything. Okay, let's keep blending that a little bit. I feel like that's a tad bit messy. Okay, there we go. And we'll do the same thing with this little dad here. And I'm also going to do right in between, ooh, that's so tiny, right in between the steering wheel there. Okay. And once more, just a little bump in the shadow. And smooth it out. Okay. Now, I'm going to let that dry for a little bit and then we'll do the cheeks, but I'm going to bring in BG11 and BG10 to do my car. And then I need to decide what I want to do for the license plate. I'm not quite certain. Okay, so BG11 is where I'll start. I think I'm going to do like a darker BG11 here all over. Just like this. And maybe even this little upper part. Just one solid color. And I think I'll do 2 coats of this just to really give it a boost. This is a pretty color. Like that. Okay, coming back to this little hood of the car, I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow there. I'm gonna blend that out just to give a little bit of, that's nice, depth. But then with this top hood, or not hood, I don't know, the top of the car. I'm not really into cars, so I don't know all the terms. I'm just gonna do all over color one more time. In fact, I'll just leave a little bit of highlight on one little area there. Okay, that looks good. Now, same color. I'm going to do my shadow here and here. I might even kind of hug the lights. Okay, and then BG, oh goodness, oh thank goodness that didn't get my little drawing there, or stamp. Okay, and then this is a really light, they're really similar, but it's a really, really light color. So I'm only gonna do 1 coat of this for most of it, because I want to have a difference between that little hood and the rest of it. But I will go back through with the BG11 and add, or just boost my shadows a little bit, and then smooth it out one more time. Okay, I think that's probably good. So I don't want to do too much here because I want this to be a different color. Okay, and I'm going to stop there. Okay, that is where I want to take that in terms of coloring. Now I need to think, I don't have a red in Copics, so let me pull, I think it would be really cute to do a red license plate. These are my Ohuhu markers. Oh, that's too much. That first one was way too much. It was geranium, but I also have deep red, which could work. And I also have rose red, which is my winner. Okay, so I'm gonna come through and add, ooh, I love the combination of mint and cute red. That's fun. And then I'll just kind of blend this out. And I'm gonna come back in and actually just use the same color to do my shadow. Oh, I think that was a fun choice. Okay, now let's see, and it might not, oh yeah, it's gonna work. So subtle. Oh, I really like that. Okay, super cute. Now, the cheeks with my R20. And with the dad, he's looking more straight on. So I'll do 2. Ooh, that's really kind of blending in. Let me get a different color. I'll go for R22. See how that works. Oh yeah, that should work. Let's try it on the little baby bear. Cute. I'll go back in on the dad. Okay, really subtle, but there. Okay, now I'm going to grab the coordinating dies and let's go ahead and cut this out. And I'll also bring my gel pen in just as a reminder that I kind of want to do some highlights. So we have some inner parts here. We don't need to do the windshield because I just nestled my little dies, or my little, sorry, not my dies, my little bears right into the car. But if you didn't, you could have that little windshield be open as well. I have a little cutout. All right, let's do washi tape just to make sure this doesn't shift. And that looks good. Okay, and I'll trim this down. That way we can send it through the little mini. So there we are. And I have to say, I have been so impressed. When I first bought this mini, I immediately went in search of replacement cutting plates because every die cutting machine that I have had up to this point, I've had to replace the cutting plates constantly. But when I was looking for the replacement plates, they're pretty much non-existent. At least if you find them, they're hard to find. But I've been really impressed because I haven't had to replace mine yet, and I use this a lot. And they're nowhere near need to be replaced at all. So I'm really excited about that because I remember when I bought this, many people were wondering what to do when your plates go bad. And I still do wonder, but the plates don't go bad nearly as fast as my other machines. So I'm super happy about that. Here's the little final die cut. Isn't that cute? I'm gonna grab another panel real quick just to see kind of what we have to work with here. I kind of want to do something fun maybe on the back side of this panel, or do I want to keep it simple? I don't know. You know what? I think it being simple is going to kind of make it even more striking, if that makes sense. I like the color pop of the car. So if I do anything in the background, I kind of feel like it's going to make the little car just kind of lost, or maybe not as visually popping as it is right now. So I'm personally going to just do a blank panel. But because I have such a small area to work with, I'm going to really trim this down. So originally this is A2 size of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to take that all the way down to 3 1/2 by 5. That way I'm just bringing in and hugging my little image a little bit more. So I'm going to have a thicker margin, but I think the scale is better this way. Okay, I think I want to go right about here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this, because the next step is I'm going to bring back my Misty and stamp my little sentiment and maybe the little music notes. I think that would be cute. So I think I like that positioning. Let's bring this in, bring our stamps back. I really like "Thanks for steering me in the right direction." I think that's adorable. And I really do like the cute. Oh, should I do the recalculating? Oh, I think that's adorable. Okay, I'm going to. So let's think here. "Thanks for steering me in the right direction." That's super cute. Okay. And even if you weren't making this for Father's Day, you could make this anytime that, you know, you were having a gratitude moment for the guy in your life. Okay. I think that's actually pretty straight. The reason I'm bringing that down is because I think I'll do that recalculating. I think I'm going to bring this down a little bit, right? Okay, let's do that. And I'm going to use the lines of my Misty to make sure that's lined up, which I don't think that is. I don't think that's quite straight. Okay, let's try. Just need to nudge up a little bit, I think. It could be that my little car is not straight. You know what I'll use is use my T-square ruler just to kind of get an idea. That looks straight compared to my T-square ruler. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, that's better, action wobbles on my car. So I don't really need to worry about that being straight because it's going to wobble. All right, I'm going to use, just for consistency, that same black ink. And I'm doing these separate of one another because then I can nudge them really close together. So that's why I'm doing my sentiments one at a time. Okay. "Thanks for steering me," double stamped to match the contrast of our previous stamps. And I like to put these right back away because if not, they get everywhere. Okay, and then "in the right direction." Now that I did that one, that stamp is gone and I can really nudge this up because I like them to be close. I think that's good, and I'm just using this to visually kind of see. Looks good to me. And use those lines once more. I think we're good. Okay. This is, I don't know why, this is the most stressful part for me. And it's not like if I make a mistake, I can't redo it, but for some reason this part really gets me pausing. Oh, there we go. And then once more, we'll double stamp. There we go. All right, now let's do the music notes. So I'm gonna bring these down, clean this off. Oh, and recalculating. That's way too funny, right? Steering you in the right direction, and there is definitely some recalculating going on. I'm gonna do that. I like how the curve of that recalculating is hugging the curve of the little car. I keep wanting to say hood, and that is so not right. Okay, and then I think I'll allow the little music notes to both go on one side. Okay, I like the recalculating, but I'm rethinking the music notes. I think it's just too much visually for me, but just know that you can add those. I loved them in the beginning, but I don't know. I think it's just too much. So I will do that recalculating because that's just too fun. Okay, let's add that. Make sure that's nice and tucked in there. And we can kind of get a preview of what that would look like here. And I'm thinking I want to move it up a little bit. I need to give that car some equal space. Let's make sure it's really dry so it doesn't put anything on my card, but give it some equal space because it's going to kind of wiggle. I think that's better. Okay. 1 and 2. Okay, recalculating. Very cute. All right, now I'm going to add my highlights really quickly because I have this pen here that's patiently waiting. And just peel this off. Set this to the side for just a little bit. Okay, and put this away. Okay, so I think what I'll do is bring you forward just a little bit and let's do some highlights here. And gosh, it's gonna be hard to see on this. Well, on camera it will be, but in person you can kind of see it, but let's some highlights on this little bumper. And then probably this little bear. Okay, and I think that's good. We're just gonna keep that super simple. All right, now let's go ahead, let this dry for a moment, and we'll build our card base. Okay, so I'm gonna step out of my comfort zone here and I'm gonna do a gray card base because I think it's just going to be a little bit more masculine, but I also like the contrast here. So originally I pulled Pebble and I liked it, but then when I was comparing the grays, I have more of a cool gray in my coloring and I feel like Pebble is more of a warm gray. So I went ahead and pulled Cobblestone, which is a little bit darker as you can see, but I also think that the gray is just a little bit more complementary there. So I'm gonna go with that. So what I'm gonna do is I went ahead and trimmed this down 11 by 4 1/4, and now I will use my scoring tool to create my card. So I'll bring it right in here. If you remember, this was 11, so half of 11 would put us at 5 1/2. And then I'll just fold my card, press that down, and I have a top folding A2 card. So 4 1/4 and by 5 1/2. And if you remember, my panel is 3 3/4 by 5. So we have a 1/4 of an inch margin all the way around there, which I think is really nice. Okay, I love where this is going. I'm gonna open that up and then place these down. Let's grab a little bit of foam tape and I'm gonna place that on the back here. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna grab some non-stick scissors. And this is really narrow foam tape. It's really thin in both directions, really. So I'll put 4 strips on the back of here. That way we have it nice and bumped up. And I will simply remove these little liners, revealing that sticky. And we are ready to go. Okay. 1/4 of an inch. Oh, got a little off, but that'll be okay. Now, I'm going to bring in these little action wobblers, and these are so fun to use. So they have a little spring mechanism, and then on either side you have adhesive. I personally like to use this side for my die cut, And then I like to use this side to attach to my card. So you can do it anyway. I'm sure you can do it anyway, but that's what I like to do. I always feel like this side is really stuck on the card. I don't know. Okay, so let me take off this side first. And I like to use a little weeder just to help take off the liner. Okay, again, revealing the sticky. And then I'll place it right on the back of my die cut. Okay, then I'm gonna bring in my tweezers because I have a little tweezer thing that I really like to do when doing action wobbles. I'm gonna do the same thing with my weeder on this side as well. Reveal that little adhesive by removing the liner. And then I like to bring in, come on, the tweezers, because I feel like it's really hard to just position this on its own while it has the little spring up. So what I do is I just take those tweezers and use them to collapse the spring. Do you see how it's collapsed before it was up? Trying to find some contrast for you. Up, but I use the tweezers to collapse that down. That way I have more of a traditional way of being able to center that and really see. So I'm going to bring that up so that we kind of have equal distance between both of our little sentiment and sub-sentiment. Place that down, and then there we go. Isn't that fun? And it kind of off, okay, that's funny because it made it kind of tilt off to the side, which I think was the best thing ever because thanks for steering me in the right direction. Sometimes don't we all feel like we're like, ooh, right? I think that's so cute. Okay, so we're a little off kilter and I think that's fun. So then there is our little action wobbler. How cute. Let me bring in these little dewdrops as always to finish off my card. I'll use some liquid glue. And what I'll do is I will add 2 little dewdrops to the upper right, and then I will also put a few here. I actually noticed there was, that's a happy accident because I wanted my little dewdrops there anyway. There was a little smudge on my card, so it's going to remedy itself with those little drops. We'll do a little duo up top and a little trio down below. There we are. Now these do dry clear. I need to remember to remind you that they kind of get a little cloudy because of the glue when wet, but once they dry clear. Oh, I almost forgot. Let me go ahead and do my little stamp right on the back. Let's get that straight. And there we go. Okay. Just about forgot, but the last minute we have that on there. Okay, there's our final card. I hope this was inspiring to you. Super simple, and I'm really glad that I was able to use a stamp set that has been patiently waiting for me. As always, you can change up the look of this by choosing different colors and a different card base, so have fun with this. I think it turned out super cute, and I think this is a fun stamp set to have. All right, everything will be listed down below just like always. That way, if you saw any tools or products that you want to add to your own craft space to help you with card making, then you can find all those down below. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, so don't go just yet because this is the first time I've ever done this, but I ended up really hating the card that I filmed. So I decided to film how I changed it, and my husband was done mowing the lawn, so he came down to hang out and watch a movie. So I decided this part will be a little voiceover while I fix this. So I did end up doing the 3.5 by 5 inch card panel just like before, but I just thought it was too boring and it just wasn't working for me. So this time I'm grabbing this Tide Pool ink by Concord and Ninth, and I'm going to do something a little fun here. I want to make an interesting panel. I felt like this card just was lacking visual interest. To me, it was just womp womp boring. So I'm gonna make it super interesting. I'm bringing in just a wet little brush here. I'm just prepping my little panel. And then I have water to the side, but I'm going to go ahead and just water down this ink and then bring it onto my panel. And it's already more visually interesting just with the first little bit of color, and I'm loving where this is going. So I want to create more of a circular look, but I'm going with more brush strokes. So I'm trying to keep a circular kind of shape in mind, but I'm just kind of seeing where this takes me, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and create a fun little focal center point, and then I'm bringing in this little awl, and it was super easy to detach my little action wobbler. I'm not sure if it's because 20 minutes earlier I attached it or what, but so easy to take that right off. And I'm just getting an idea for the size, and I'm seeing that I need to elongate that little circle just a little bit more and make it just come down a little bit to the bottom, just a tad. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little bit of spatter all the way around, and already I feel like I'm loving this so much more. I feel like that before it just, I don't know, it wasn't working. And sometimes you can't just describe it for yourself, but for me, it wasn't my style, and this is definitely more my style. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm not going to walk you through all of it because I walked you through the first time. I don't want to bore you, but I'm going to do the exact same sentiment. I'm going to put it right down at the bottom, one by one. I do double stamp this, but I'm just hurrying this up for you. I did end up skipping the recalculating part. I think it's adorable. I love it, love it, love it, but it just wasn't working for me. So I went ahead and skipped that. I'm adding the foam tape just to make sure that is nice and popped up on the back. And as you can see, I did skip the gray backdrop. For me, now we have really fun visual interest with that watercolor, so I felt like a nice neutral backdrop was exactly what I needed. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is add my dewdrops. So I did end up doing the same thing as last time in terms of embellishment. I added a little trio at the top and a duo at the bottom. And this just screams me at this point. This is so much more my style. I love it. I just felt in my heart that once I saw this, I knew that's the card. That's the card that I want him to have. So I'm going to give you a little side by side of both of the cards just so you can see where it's going and where it went, and I end up loving it. All right, everyone, I'll see you in the next video.